to our webinar. My name is Willie Fitzgerald from Simply Dynamics, and this is our quarter 3 of 2024 webinar. This is how the session is going to flow today. So I'm just doing a 2-minute introduction now. Then I'll hand over to Martin from Continia, who will do a 20-minute product demonstration. And then any questions, we'll handle them at the end. You can type the questions into the chat as we're going along if you wish, and then we'll take them at the end. Just let everybody know the event's been recorded. Everybody that's registered for the event will automatically get a copy of the recording sent to them by email after the event. And finally, on the introduction or on the housekeeping, if you want to organize a one-to-one meeting with us after the event, that's no problem, and you can actually book a meeting directly through our website, simplydynamics.com. If you want to discuss Continia in more detail. Okay, so 2 or 3 slides. First of all, for the benefit of the people here who aren't familiar with Simply Dynamics, we're a Dynamics 365 partner based in Dublin, and we're a cloud-first solution center. That means we lead with cloud products, cloud dynamics products. But we also sell the on-premise if required, but 99% of our projects now are cloud solutions. We only do Dynamics 365. We don't do anything else. But that means in terms of our experience and product knowledge, it's as good as it gets. And our project service for delivery and for support is pretty well organized, pretty streamlined. So our projects run pretty smoothly. Just to explain, today we're hosting the webinar, and Continia, our partner, are doing a demonstration on their app, Continia Expense Manager, which I use myself actually for expenses and find it very good. How that fits into the ecosystem. So in the past, and there's some people here who probably have Nav or Business Central on-premise, you bought your ERP system, Nav or BC, installed it on-prem, customized it for whatever non-standard requirements were required, and you ended up with one big bucket of customized ERP code, which is fine, but it meant upgrades were extremely difficult. And everybody put them off as long as possible. That's all gone. So today what we're looking at is people buy their base application, Business Central Online. Then where something is a requirement is non-standard, the first protocol is to look at an off-the-shelf app such as Continia Expense Manager to plug into Business Central Online. So that means you end up with a core base application, Business Central, which is unmodified, unchanged, standard, and standard Microsoft certified apps that plug into the base application. And the idea there is that these are all cloud solutions, so that every month your software is upgrading to the latest version seamlessly in the background. And that's it. So that's Simply Dynamics. We're going to look at Continia Expense Manager, and I'll hand over now to Martin and continue to show you the product, and we can come back at the end for questions. I'll stop sharing, Martin.
Thank you, Willie. Good morning, everybody. Like Willie said, my name is Martin. I work at Continia, and I'll be doing the presentation on expense management today for, I would say, the next 20 minutes or so. I'm going to give you an overview of how the solution works. I'm going to skip the PowerPoints and dive right into how the software can work for your company. I am going to show it to you within Business Central, but it will also work on Dynamics NEV. And the functionality is almost the same. I would say the biggest difference between Dynamics and Business Central is the AI that is now included, which greatly enhances the experience that the users have using our system. But for now, I want to start off with expense management, how it looks like for the accounts payable team. Then I'll switch over to the role of the expense users. We'll prove some of the expenses and mileage claims. And then we'll see how far we are in the presentation. So as with all of our solutions, it will be fully integrated into your NAV or Business Central. That means that the accounts payable team doesn't have to open up a separate application in the morning. Our software will be right here in your trusted environment. As the accounts payable team, you can select a role center, and here you'll be able to see a couple of things. On the left-hand side, you can see how many expense reports came in. And what is an expense report? This is something that a user can create, and here they can bundle their expenses and mileage claims together. For example, at the end of the year, I'm going to visit Simply Dynamics in Ireland. I create an expense report in my own expense management system, the Ireland visit. And I will add my airline tickets to it, a taxi from the airport, some food while I'm there, my hotel. Then when I fly back 2 days later, I will close down the report, and then my director can see in one overview, you spent €700 during this trip. So it's really nice if you want to combine things together. And the accounts payable team sees them coming in over here on the left-hand side. Next to that, we'll see individual expenses coming in. I myself live in the Netherlands, and when I visit a customer here locally, I usually have a parking receipt, and then I expense that, and it will come in over here. In the middle, bank transactions. We have a connection with Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. If your bank allows it, we can upload the transactions automatically on a daily basis to your Business Central, and then Expense Management will be able to match those bank transactions to the receipts that the users have sent in, saving the accounts payable team a lot of time getting them matched up. And also a nice feature is that if a user forgets to send in a receipt, the system will send an automatic notification to that person's phone and email saying, please submit a receipt from the restaurant from last week, saving the accounts payable team a lot of chasing. Next that we can do mileage claims as well. We can set up different rates per person depending on their engine or their car or whatever rules that you have negotiated with them. We can set it up over here, and we will use Google Maps to calculate the route for you. And the last thing, per diem. We do not see it a lot in Ireland, to be honest. Per diem is like giving your colleagues money and they can choose how to spend it. So instead of them letting expense lunch, you're going to give them €10 for lunch and they can do whatever they want with it. They can go to the supermarket and maybe save some money for themselves, or they can go to a sandwich shop and buy something. We also see per diem sometimes with logistical companies. When a driver is away overnight, they will get €25 extra per night for some entertainment or stuff like that. And this is what per diem also can be used for. So where I want to start off with, I've uploaded some credit card transactions to my demo system. The first time that I do this, I need to assign a card to a user so that the system knows the next time if I see this card number, it belongs to person A in our system. What I'm doing right now is not something you have to do every time credit card transactions come in, but this is my demo system and I have to go through it. Basically now the system is checking if this person has sent in any receipts for these transactions. If she did, everything will be matched and fine. If she forgot to do it, then she will get a notification on her mobile phone that she has to do it as soon as possible. Before I'm going to switch over to the role of the expense user, I want to show you how it looks like for the accounts payable team processing the expenses. Basically, what we see over here on the top left is the to-do list. On the right-hand side, the receipts, and down below the comments. Well, in this case, it says attachments are missing. That's why we're not seeing anything over here. And if you look at the status, it says pending expense user. So basically what happened, this person bought something with their corporate credit card, but they haven't sent in the receipt yet. But don't worry, we'll do that in a couple of minutes. But before I'm going to do that, let me take you through these columns so you get a bit of an idea of what expense management is capturing for you. So basically, the finance team can see who submitted the expense. On what date did the transaction take place? How did that person pay? And now we come to an important part, the expense type. We believe at Continia that people submitting expenses are not finance people. They do not know what general ledger account something needs to be posted to, how much VAT we can claim back. However, we do believe that they can categorize their expenses. So what you will do as a company, you will create your own expense types, similar to the dummy ones that you see over here. And behind those expense types, you will quote general ledger accounts and how much VAT you want to claim back, so that the posting can go automatically in the background. Don't worry, the finance team can always overrule what we try to do automatically, of course. If you do not want to capture the VAT on a particular receipt or it's a bit different, you have to wait to adjust this before it gets really posted, of course. But we try to automate as much as possible. Next to that, we can see a description. We can add attendees to an expense claim. If I, for example, had a coffee with Willy, then the approver and maybe also the accountant can see that we had a cup of coffee. We can see the status, something has been put on hold, who will approve it later on, the currency code, the amount in the foreign currency, and the amount in the local currency. If you bought something in a foreign currency with the company credit card, we use the exchange rate that your bank charges you. And if something bought something with their own money, we will use the exchange rate that you have set up within Business Central. Over here on the right-hand side, you see an example like department code or customer group code. Those are dimensions in my demo system. But basically, you as a company can add and remove fields to the app yourselves. Of course, Willy and the team will show you, but after that, you should be able to do it yourselves without the help of the IT department, your partner in this case, or Continia, which is really convenient. So you can add your dimensions, your projects, your jobs, and you can make it mandatory for your colleagues to fill in. At the top, the accounts payable team has all the buttons that they need to process these expenses. And one more time, you can always overrule and adjust this to your liking, of course. Now, we'll come back later in the screen again in the presentation, but now I want to switch over to the role of the expense user and show you how we can actually submit the expenses. Expense users have two different ways of getting the information across to you. The most popular one is the expense management app, which I'm opening right now. But we also have an expense portal. The expense portal is basically the app, but you open it up in the browser. So on your laptop, for example. And why would you use both ways? Well, if I look at myself, I usually book a flight on my laptop because I like the big screen so I can compare a little bit. And once I book the flight, I'll upload it via my expense portal. But when I'm on the road, my phone is much more convenient, so I will use that. And both have the same functionality. They're identical and they're synchronized together. So yeah, you can work at both places at the same time. In my demo today, also for time-wise, I will only show you the app. And this is how the app looks like. It will work on iPhone and it will work on Android phones. We can use single sign-on from Microsoft to log into the app. And then at the top, if you have multiple companies, you can switch between them over here. You can add your company logo where it says see you right now. And then we can do expenses, mileage claims, per diems, and reports. Let's say you're not doing per diem or not doing mileage claims. Then you can remove that and users will not be able to see that, so they cannot accidentally click on it. What I want to do now, I'm going to click on new expense. So I just grab my mobile phone. I'm going to do a new expense. And then I see all of these fields over here that you can configure yourself. And then a user can click on the camera button and they can take a photo of a receipt. They can grab a photo or a file when they click on the paperclip, which is already on their mobile phone. This button, I would say you can forget because of the AI. This is not necessary anymore. But in the past, with this button, you could create a template for recurring expenses and then save it under a certain name so you do not have to fill everything in all the time. But with the AI, it's not necessary anymore. In my demo, I have some receipts over here. That's why this first circle is over here. So yeah, hopefully you get it. Let's say we just took this picture. Are we happy with that? Yes, we are. And then we see the word scanning for a couple of seconds. And then we can see that the system grabbed the amount, the currency code, the date, and a description. And the system will get smarter and smarter with each receipt that the user expenses. For example, if I now select payment type, I can say I paid this with my own money, or I can say I paid this with my corporate credit card. In this case, I will say I paid this with my own money. What the system does in the background, and this is AI, of course, it will look at the receipt and it says, hey, you paid with card number 1234 at the end, and you selected this is your private card. So the next time it sees card number 1234 on another receipt, it will fill in the payment type to private card automatically, saving the user another extra couple of clicks. And that's how the system will help you have to fill in less and less. The same goes for the expense types. It will try to auto-categorize the receipts for you. In this case, I will say it's food with guests, and it will start learning. The description, if I look at myself and I think this is a fair assumption, this is what you adjust most of the times, especially in the beginning. It can remember descriptions if you get recurring receipts, for example, for fuel for your company car, or you can buy a cup of coffee every day and expense it. I do not know, but that it will recognize. But otherwise, I would say the description, if I look at myself, this is what I usually adjust. So now I can say coffee with partner. And now when I selected food with guests, a new field popped up, attendees. And now I can click on it. And now I can say, well, I will say I was with Willy. And then I will say he works at Simply Dynamics. And I will say he was a guest. I'll press save, save again. And now the approvers and the accounts payable team can see that Willy and I had a cup of coffee. Add allocation lines. We know that a lot of receipts will have multiple costs on them. And don't worry, we can handle that. For example, when you receive an invoice from a hotel with allocation lines, you can say, I want to allocate 100 euros to expense type hotel, 25 euros to food during business trip, and 10 euros to expense type parking, making sure that everything will hit your general ledger accounts in a correct manner. The last field, add to report. I maybe want to add this to my Ireland trip in a couple of weeks, then I can add that over here, but I will do that later in my presentation. For now, I'm happy, and I'll press submit, and the receipt is gone. And this is how easy a user can submit an expense, whether that is something that they pay with their own money or with the corporate credit card. Let's say they used their corporate credit card and did not do what we just did. They will get notifications on their app saying, hey, you have open credit card transactions, and they can easily fix that by clicking on the credit card transaction, add a receipt like this. I like that one. Yeah. And then they can submit it. So even if they forget it, I don't know if it's correct, the threshold to do this is very low. So we see that people using corporate credit cards now using the expense management system tend to upload their receipts quite fast, which is nice for you as the finance team. We can do mileage claims. Like I said, we can set up different rates per person. You can add fuel receipts, whatever you like. And then you can use Google Maps to calculate the route for you. So let's see if we can find you. Simply Dynamics. I believe you're in City West Business Campus. And then let's say you want to drive to Dublin Airport, like this. Just use Google, and it will calculate. I've now set it to miles. I think in Ireland it's kilometers. We can also do kilometers, of course, right? We can see the route. It will take a picture of Google Maps, how you can drive. You can adjust the route, of course, if there was major traffic jam over here. I know this piece of road is very busy. I've done it a couple of times. You can adjust the number of miles, of course, but then what the system also does, it will give a notification to the accounts payable team and the approver saying, we claim 25 kilometers. We calculated 25 kilometers, but the user is claiming 30. Do you accept that, yes or no? The user can add a description. On my way to the airport, and then I can press submit, and the system asks me, do you want to create a return trip as well, continue from there to another place, or just send it? I'll just send it for now, and it will be gone. Per diem, within Business Central, you will set up the rates, what people are getting. You will say how long you're gone from home, and then a user can say, on Wednesday, I had lunch, dinner, and drinks. And on Thursday, I had breakfast and lunch, and then I went back home. And based on the rates that you have set up within Business Central, that person will get money in their bank account, and they can choose how to spend that. And I will say visit project X, and I'll submit it, and it's gone. We can also create a report. Let's call it the Ireland Visit 2024. I'll press create, and now I can add my expenses, mileage claims, and per diem straight from here. Or let's say I already booked a hotel with my company credit card. That's this one over here. And then I will add the receipt, of course, because that is mandatory. And now I can say, well, instead of normally I would swipe to the right, I would now say add the report, my Ireland Visit 2024. I press save. And you see this folder getting created, and people can add more and more expenses, mileage claims, and per diems into it until they are finished. Good thing is that the accounts payable team can already see in Business Central what people are adding. For the rest, in the app and in the portal, you can see the history that you've submitted so far. You can see what gets approved, what gets rejected. You can add an extra protection or app security in the form of a code or a Face ID. Use only when the Wi-Fi is available. All can be done in the app. And actually, I'm now rushing through this demo because of the time, but we can do a lot more than I'm showing you right now. Think of limits or company policy, secretary function, field dependencies. We can do a lot. But hopefully it gives you a bit of an idea of what it can do for your company. If I now go back to Business Central, nothing has happened. That's because I switched off the automatic synchronization because I want to show it to you. Now basically everything gets downloaded into Business Central. And if I now look from an accounts payable perspective, now it looks a bit different. Now we get to see the original receipt on the right-hand side. I can see that, hey, who's Willie? I can click, oh, he works at Simply Dynamics, perfect. You can see them all coming in over here, and the same goes for the credit card ones. Once they're in, we can do an approval flow. We can approve within Business Central itself or with our web approval portal. The web approval portal allows you to approve on your mobile phone or your iPad, basically anywhere in the world, as long as you have an internet connection. And then the flow that we created is that you can set up a manager per expense user, and that manager will receive all of the expenses, mileage claims, per diems, and expense reports from that person. And if you want, you can give that first manager a limit saying if the expense exceeds 100 euros, then I also want a second approver. The approvers get notifications via emails that they have something to approve, and you can bundle them together, of course. They can click on a link and then they can approve. And the approval will look like this. You get to see the original receipt on the right-hand side, all of the details here in the lines. This is the users can approve it. They can reject it with a reason, and they have to fill in a reason why, because it will be sent to the user why it got rejected. So they can maybe adjust the expense and submit it again. We can forward it to somebody else within the organization, put it on hold if there's a query, add comments, set up your out of office if you're going on holiday as an approver so that the approval will not stop. And don't worry, the finance team can also activate the out of office for the approvers, because people tend to forget, and you can see some more details. Now, I will approve them, and a notification, if the user allows it, gets sent to their mobile phone. And now the expenses come to their final stage, the release stage, and released expenses can be posted. And you can do that one by one in a batch, or you can automate it and say every day at 5 o'clock, all the expenses and mileage claims, whatever, which date is released, will be posted, saving you a lot of time. We will set up the users as vendors within Business Central or as employees. The expenses will be posted to either of the two, and then you will pay your colleagues weekly or monthly. We do not interfere in that process. If a user paid something with a corporate credit card, they do not get paid, of course. The system makes a posting on the vendor or employee account, so you know that that user expensed, but it will also make a posting on the your bank's vendor account, let's say from AIB, so that when they collect the money at the end of the month, your balance should be 0. Now, I will post them now, and then we basically run through the complete process from beginning to end. So maybe a quick recap. If I looked at myself a couple of years ago, we didn't have the system. I used Excel. Maybe a lot of you do that as well. I would save all my receipts until the end of the month, open up that Excel sheet, start typing everything in, put it in a big envelope with my receipts, give it to my director. He would approve it. He would give it to finance. They would start typing everything in, archive it, and then pay me, which was basically a lot of work for all the parties involved. Nowadays, I just grab my mobile phone, I take a photo of the receipt, the AI picks up all of the details, I adjust the description, I swipe to the right, and I'm done. My director approves once a week. He gets one email on Friday, he approves everything, and then the finance team does a final check, posts it, and we're done. So it will really save a lot of time for the 3 parties involved. Finding back the documents will happen within Business Central. Basically everywhere where the receipt or mileage claim touches something, you can see the receipt, of course, on the general ledger accounts, VAT entries, vendor card, employee card, posted expenses, posted mileage claims, anywhere. This is what I wanted to show you today about expense management. I'll say it one more time, we can do a lot more than I showed you today. But I would love to maybe show you this in a one-on-one demo with you and your team, and you can request that at Willie or your other account representative at Simply Dynamics, and we'll set that up for you. The software is really popular in Ireland. It's easy to set up, and with Business Central, each 6 months you get a new update with a lot of new functionality, and it's good software. And Willie, are there any questions?
There is one, and there's another person typing. So we started the one I already got, which was if there's a free version of, or a free trial of the app to download.
If you are on Business Central SaaS, you can download the software into your sandbox environment, and we will not charge you for this. However, we do recommend that you take some training from Simply Dynamics, because the software can do so much, even though it's not difficult. And we feel that you need a bit of training to have a good experience with the software. Yeah. But
I'd agree with that. There's one more question being typed, Martin. Just not finished typing yet. There's two of them actually.
It's no problem.
Here's the first one. Are reports available for enhanced reporting for revenue?
So the enhanced reporting revenue. So yes and no. So we do not deliver the report to you, but all of the data that is required by the enhanced reporting is within your Business Central, and together with Simply Dynamics, you can make a report and extract that. But we do not have an out-of-the-box report that you can just give to the government and do it, but all of the data that is necessary for that report is in the system.
Okay, so it's a custom report that we design. And the second question was the same question, actually.
Okay.
So two people asked that question, and there's another one coming out.
Sure.
Terribly. Does every user need a Business Central license to use the Continia app?
That's a very good question. No, they don't. So people who submit expenses, or basically expense users, do not need to have a license from Microsoft. Only people working within Business Central, like the accounts payable team, and the approvers need a license. However, the approvers can approve in our web approval portal, and they can do that with a limited user license in NAV or a team member license within Business Central.
Yeah, perfect. That's all the questions, Martin. Well, there's another one. No, that's it. They're just saying thanks.
Good.
We're finished on schedule, nearly slightly ahead of schedule. And I can concur with everything that Martin said. From an end user experience, I used to use Excel like you used to do, and manually input data into the sheet and pass it over for someone else to input again. And it's been huge value since we moved to Expense Manager a couple of years ago. Just saved a lot of time and mistakes as well. Not just time, but it saves mistakes. So that's it. As I said earlier on, if somebody wants to book a one-to-one session, you can go onto our website. On our homepage, there's a book a meeting option there, and we can arrange it through there, simplydynamics.com. Otherwise, that's everything, Aileen. We can stop recording and finish the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
As I said earlier on, everybody will get a copy of the session anyway.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, Willie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Cheers, Martin. Cheers, Aileen.
Have a nice day, all of you. Bye-bye.
Guys.
Thank you.